guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Real Estate Talk Show, Home Buying 101 with Sebastian Cordoba, Mr. Clear to Close. Guys, very excited because this week we have some very important topics and a very special guest. We're going to be talking about what are common questions that first-time homeowners and investors are making, right? What should you be looking at, right? Everybody who's tuning in right now, what should you be looking at while you're searching for that home? What should you actually be focusing on, right? But more importantly, market conditions. Where are we at? How is the market currently? And aside from all these very important topics, guys, I'm very excited about my guest. So we have Tatiana Gallego, Realtor with eXp Realty. So guys, thank you so much. Do not miss this. Guys, so please, a big round of applause. Toot them horns because I'm very excited about having Tatiana Gallego, Realtor with eXp Realty. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yes. So tell me, we have a bunch of people tuning in. Everybody wants to learn about real estate, right? So let's talk real estate.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business? Where are you from?
Yes. So I was born in Boston. Actually, all my life I've lived here. And I love the city so much. I started in real estate in 2014.
Okay.
I was 21 years old when I started.
Good for you.
And I was super nervous, super excited. My dad had been in the business for, I don't know, at that point, I think 5 years or 6 years.
Okay.
And I started out in Boston, actually, at a mom and pop shop.
Okay.
Great. I learned so much about everything, about, it was great. It was a
real
great
estate
learning
and
experience.
absorbing it all and everything.
Absorbing it all,
Yep.
And I actually moved over, so I was mostly focused on rentals there,
Okay.
and then I moved over to sales in 2020.
Nice.
Where actually my aunt is also a realtor at Cameron Real Estate
So
Group.
you tell me this is in your blood.
Oh yeah.
This is in your blood. This is
They
natural
both-
for you.
Yeah, so it's honestly, I'm blessed because they are such great mentors to me. If I ever have any questions, or they're just there for support.
Okay.
My aunt has been in the business for a really long time, I think 19 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so she's huge. She does great. My dad does amazing too.
Okay.
They're both, and they're actually siblings, so they're
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you tell me we got a bunch of brains. So we're working with you, but at the same time, we've got a bunch of brains and mentors that are going to be able to help.
I have so much, yes.
Awesome.
There's so many resources that it's insane.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So no, that's great. And Tatiana, so I appreciate you coming on, right?
Thank you, yeah.
Because these topics that we have are very important, right? So let's talk about the current market conditions.
Yes.
Right. So what I'm seeing in it, me as a mortgage lender, the interest rates are high.
Yes.
Okay. They're higher than what they were a year ago, 2 years
Yeah.
ago. It's going back to what they were pre-pandemic levels,
I
right?
know.
Which for some people, it was a bit of a sticker price shock, right? Where they said, oh, I want to wait. I want to time the marketing when the rates come back down. We never know when it will go back, right?
No, exactly.
So what did that have an effect on the real estate market? Is the purchasing power went down.
Goes down, yeah. Right.
Why? Because when an interest rate goes up, the monthly payment goes up,
Right.
and their affordability goes down.
Goes down,
Right.
exactly.
So that's what I'm seeing in my market. A lot of people looking, but their affordability goes down. So
Yes.
you being in the market as a realtor,
Yeah.
right? What kind of effect have you seen, or what's going on right now?
It's so interesting, honestly, because for the past year, so last January, the rates were around 3%, right? And they went up, they kind of spiked up. As the year went on, it was 3, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5,
Yeah.
6, and it did touch 7 last year.
Yep.
And as the interest rates were going up, it kind of was scaring buyers. A lot of buyers were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm kind of hands off a little bit. And we saw that there was a time, I think I probably late August, September, when there were sellers had to provide incentives.
So the market kind of changed.
It was changing. It was shifting a
Wow.
lot. It was
Okay.
shifting a lot.
And I'm sorry, so when you say
yeah.
incentive, what kind of incentive?
So there was a lot of talks because people were getting kind of cold feet about everything. About buyers were just kind of backing off to see what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So there were incentives. There was a thing called the 2-1 buy down, the 3-1 buy down.
Yep.
That was going on. There were seller concessions that were given out.
Some government funding, like
Government
mass housing
funding,
and mass streams
mass
came.
streams came out as well to kind of spur the action again. So it's so funny because we saw that dip a little bit, and then it kind of bled into the winter, and the interest rates did go down a little bit. I think they went down as, I mean, you should know.
Yeah, of course.
Down, yeah,
yep.
like lower, like high fives.
What,
right?
in last year?
Yeah,
so last year, I mean, they were, like you said, at the beginning of the year, they were at their lowest point.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, they were around 1.99
Oh my
in the
God,
2s.
yeah.
And then beginning of the year, you're right, they were in the 3s and the low 3s, and then they just continually went up.
Yep.
And then there were different factors that also influence what the interest rate can be, right? So what can that be for everybody tuning in is your credit score. Credit score is the most important piece, right?
Yes.
So that dictates how much interest rate you're going to be
Exactly.
having to pay for your mortgage. So different things of that nature is going to affect, right? So what else are you seeing, Tatiana?
So beyond that,
Yeah.
so this year, interest rates have kind of still gone up. They were at like high fives, but then they went up to like 7.
Yes.
And honestly, this is the highest it's been in a while.
Yeah, since pre-pandemic, right?
Despite that, there are still so many buyers. There's still a lot of competition. And there's also just very low inventory.
Thank you.
That's the thing.
That's unfortunate.
And honestly, yes, buyers have less buying power. Actually, we're going to talk about this too, but the new FHA rules, right?
Yes, the new mortgage insurance premium that's going down. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
That is going to help a lot of FHA first-time home buyers.
Yes, and why? So let me explain it a little bit, right? So let's kind of go back to what we keep talking about is the interest rates and the purchasing power. It's affordability. It's debt to income ratio, right? So if the mortgage insurance premium is also going down, it means that the monthly payment is going down. Now it's bringing up your affordability.
Exactly.
Right?
So now more people can kind of get back in. But it's kind of weird because at the same time, there's still just no inventory. So we just need more. The demand is still there. The demand is still there.
Yes.
So we need more supply to meet that demand because otherwise, right now we're seeing bidding wars again. It's like
it's
20 offers on a home,
wow.
40 offers on a home, and that's becoming the new norm. So
it's going back to where it was.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I honestly say, if you can buy a home and it's within everything, your conditions, everything that meets what you're looking for, then do it. I also don't force people to do it if they don't feel comfortable.
Of course,
first and foremost, you want to make sure that you can afford the payments.
Yes,
so.
and the good thing is we have to make sure you can afford it. So
exactly.
there are certain percentages, back to the debt to income ratio, is we can only go up to make sure you can keep this home.
Yes.
You're not calling us in 6 months and saying, Tatiana, I can't.
I need to sell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, exactly.
No, it's like, hey, I want to buy my next property.
We want to put you in the best position possible for the long term, for the future, because that's what it is. It's an investment.
Yep, exactly. So I think that's great. I think the current market conditions, just to kind of recap, is yes, the interest rates are high, but if there's still that opportunity, that window for you to be able to get into that home, especially your first home, and pay your own mortgage instead of your landlord's mortgage.
That's the thing. Exactly, because at the same time, yes, homes are pricey right now and the interest rate's a little bit high, but at the same time, rents are so high too.
And how much % of an interest rate is rent?
How much? 100.
100%. So that's the killer piece.
And people are realizing this, keep information. They're just like, okay, well, I'm spending $3,000 a month on rent.
Yep.
That's $36,000 in a year. That could have gone, that's my down payment.
That's the down payment.
That's
and somebody who is going to rent, they have to put a first, a second, last security.
Broker fee.
That's a down payment right there.
Right. That's exactly.
You know?
4 times one month's rent. It's
amazing. I mean, it's something but you're right. So basically, yes, there are a lot of people now that are back out searching. We're still in the pre-spring market.
Yeah.
Which hopefully when the spring comes, please, all you sellers, put those houses on the market so we can start getting this market going. No, but the other point is this, what's the solution to this, right? A lot of people are waiting and staying outside of the market because they expect a crash, right? Or the prices to drop and then to be a lot more inventory. So what's the solution?
I mean, to each their own. Obviously, I know I talked to so many people that say this is not sustainable. This is crazy. And it's been crazy for a while. I know people that sold everything that they had in 2017 and thinking that was the top. You can't know.
You cannot,
no one knows.
You can't time the market.
You make the best guess and you go with it.
Yes.
But
educational.
Yeah, you make. I mean, exactly. You have to make educated bets, right?
Yes. Yes.
At the same time, if what you're doing now is paying a high rent and you're not accumulating any equity, you have to think about what you're looking for in the long run. If you can buy a home and you and you choose not to, then okay, you're paying rent for however long you want. I mean, another thing too is buyers have to, be a little bit flexible.
Yes.
If they're really looking, I get a lot of buyers that are looking in Everett, Revere, Chelsea, Malden, East Boston. And it's everybody wants that. Yeah. Everybody wants those areas.
It's just a hot market.
It's a hot market.
Yep.
So if you can be a little bit more flexible, if you can move out a little bit.
And commute and make the
a
sacrifice.
little bit, make the sacrifice, then that's, and you save money compared to your rents or whatever, then
sense.
that's worthwhile to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just a matter of making that switch. It's like a home is not your forever. Like if you want to move, move within the next 5 years, you totally can.
But why not start now? Build
Why
a
not
little
start
equity.
now and build your equity?
So 5 years when you're ready to buy that dream home, now you've got maybe 1 or 2 properties under your belt. Now you're paying that. Those properties are paying themselves off, right? So another big important piece that I like to educate my buyers too, and for everybody who's tuning in is it's all about the monthly affordability, right?
Exactly. That's what it boils down to, and that's why I want to set my clients up for success. I want them to talk to the lender and really get to know. Okay, I'm paying this much paying this much for this house. How much does that equate to as my monthly mortgage?
Exactly.
Is that comfortable for me?
Can I still go out and have an empanada?
Exactly. No, but so serious. It's like you have to make sure that it's comfortable, like it's affordably comfortable for you.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be house poor.
Exactly.
And I think that's
very
huge.
important. And I think that the what I like to educate is this is think about it this way, guys. Is right now if you were to lock into a home, your own home, right? You're creating equity. This monthly payment, this is going to be the worst case.
Yes.
Right? The worst case. Why? Because this is where the interest rates are high.
Exactly.
I mean, where hopefully they don't go much higher, but it's a market. It's a fluctuation. So when they come back down, when you refinance, that monthly payment that you've lived and comfortably lived for the past 2-3 years, the amount of time, that's the worst case. Now it'll be the better case. Now you're paying the better case, lower interest rate, paying that home at a more comfortable monthly payment. Right? So guys, just thank you so much. I mean, to kind of recap is the market conditions, always take advantage of the opportunity because if it makes sense, if financially per month.
And if you can be flexible, like with location and so on, like if buying a home is really your main goal, you're going to make it happen. Like you're going to make it happen. You're going to go out further a little bit. You're going to try to change some things around so you can afford that down payment, so you can, all those things. So, and obviously pick our brains, like lenders are here, right? Realtors are here. They're a resource for you.
Use us as a team because as a team, you're only going to be able to get so much further, right? Exactly. You can only do so much things on your own. When you have a team around you who's experienced, has resources, it really cares
Bounce
about
off of us.
Yes, use us. I mean, give us a call, text us. The idea is for you to use these realtors and lenders as a resource, right? Awesome. Tati, that was great. I appreciate that because the market conditions, I think that's very important. And people, please, you better be taking notes. I better be seeing a big blog coming in. But let's make a transition. So now let's go to some of the questions that a lot of our viewers, that first-time homeowners, that even first-time investors are making. What's a common mistake that a common question that you're getting?
I mean, there's so much information, right? And it kind of like when you're a first-time home buyer, you kind of get analysis paralysis. You're like, where do I start? What do I do? First and foremost, the fundamental thing you want to do is talk to a realtor or a lender. Schedule a time, meet for coffee. We're happy to talk to you for any question you have, and there's no dumb question. When I first started in sales, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, this is insane. Like, there's just so much information to gather. But once you kind of like have that person that's looking out for you, then you're going to feel so much more well-equipped. And like once they're going to be able to help you understand what everything means, you're going to feel confident. That matters so much. So anyway, first thing is you want to talk to a realtor, you want to talk to a lender. You can talk to them at any point. You can talk to a lender first or a realtor.
So let me cut you off in there. I mean, Tati, so let's say you're at an open house, you're listing a property, and you have somebody who's interested in a property. In that property, they haven't spoken to anybody. They just kind of saw it online. They went to check it out. What's kind of the first step or advice you tell them? So
first thing is, hey, how are you? Like, hey, welcome to our open house. What brings you in? Oh, okay, you're looking for your first home. That's great. Sorry, you're looking for your first home. That's great. What areas are you looking in? Have you gotten pre-approved yet? Okay, do you know what the pre-approval process looks like? I can introduce you to someone that can help you with that. It's not too long. They can get you done within like 48 hours. And just kind of getting to know them and what they're looking for, and then we can do the buyer consult there. We can meet another time and do the buyer consult.
And Tati, and that's great. So when you're talking about these documents or kind of what you need to get pre-approved, let me kind of, one of the questions I get is, what kind of documents? What do I need?
What do you need?
Very simple, very easy. For documents, it depends your employment as well, right? But easy. ID, we need a copy of your social, but then we need the bank statements as well to show that the funds are there. But the more important piece for us to start the income analysis, it's your W-2s if you're an employer. if you work for an employer who gives you W-2s for the past 2 years, so 2022, 2021. We're also looking at the tax returns, 2022, 2021. Business and personal, because some people think this is, hey, I'm only going to show my personal tax returns and the bank will never ever know that I have business tax returns. Well, let me give you a little bit of an insight. There's something called Schedule 1 in your tax returns that actually lays out what you've made in the Schedule C and the 1099 in your business or in your rental investment properties, right? So it's all listed on your personal. So I will need, yes, 2 years of your personal and your business. If you do work for a W-2 employer, then I just need your most recent 4 pay stubs, right? So if you get paid weekly, last 4, bi-weekly, last 2. Now, I love income analysis. That's my favorite part, Tati. If somebody works overtime, right, that's more income. I love to use it. So how do I calculate this? It's basically your base pay, right? And I do an average of what you've earned with your overtime or your bonuses over the past 2 years, right? So for documentation, kind of to go back, your W-2 only tells me the maximum. The actual pay stubs show me the breakdown of your regular, your base, your overtime, your bonus, your differentials. So for me to take a quick shortcut, instead of waiting for a verification of employment from your employer, I look at your last pay stubs. Your last pay stub of 2022 and the last one of 2021 shows me the breakdown, and I do the average there.
Exactly. So that's it. Basically, they're going to ask you for those documents. Once they have everything in hand, then they're able to actually calculate the pre-approval.
Exactly.
How much you really qualify for. Keep in mind that that's the max you qualify for. So if you want to buy something less, it's going to be less. Monthly mortgage. Your budget might be actually less.
Yes.
Maybe you want to spend kind of close to what your rent amount is because you're comfortable paying that. Ask the lender what that will be, really, so that you know in your mind, okay, I really can't spend more than, I know I'm pre-approved for $600,000, but I really want to spend $550,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Question that I do when we do these home buying seminars is I ask, home buyers, hey, who gets to decide how much your monthly payment is it going to be? Right? Is it the bank or is it you? A lot of people answer the bank. Right? But no, what I tell you is what the maximum amount is that you can afford. And that's my job, get you the max. But at the end of the day, you decide how much you want to pay per month and be comfortable paying a month.
And you kind of tell them, tell the lender, hey, really, I want to spend X.
How much can I buy up to?
Yes, how much can I buy up to with this monthly mortgage being the thing. The other thing that affects also, if you're looking for a condo, is condo fees. That will affect heavily.
And that brings it down. Why? Because monthly payment goes up, affordability goes down.
Another factor is taxes. You have, every home has their own tax. If you're looking in New Hampshire, if you're looking in Mass,
So wait, you're telling me you could be looking at 2 properties, same purchase price, but they have different taxes?
Different taxes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, good and bad, right?
It depends on the city and everything,
and one of the common questions I get, right, is let's say we give a pre-approval out for a 2-family. Okay, and we say, hey, you're pre-approved for $500,000, a 2-family, with the rental income at $2,000 from the other unit.
That's another thing too.
With the taxes at $500 a month, right? $6,000 a year. But you're looking at a property and you say you're looking at 2 properties. One's for $500, the other's for $500. But I say, hey, listen, buyer, unfortunately, you don't qualify for this one, but this one you do.
They're like, why? I thought I had $500,000.
Yeah, what happened, Celestia? You told me, hey, I can do $500. Well, it's all about the monthly payments, right?
Exactly.
This
It all
property
boils
here,
down to that.
Yeah, so maybe this property here, let's say property B, has lower rental income. So instead of $2,000, now you're only receiving $1,800.
And that affects heavily.
Heavily. So the income we're using to qualify diminishes. It goes down. Plus the taxes. Now the taxes are higher. Now you're paying $550 a month, right? So it goes up. So that monthly payment now goes up. Bring in that maximum amount that you were at. Now you don't qualify for that. So that's one thing is a common question that people ask.
Those are things that your realtor will kind of look out for too. You're going to talk, if you're interested in a property and you want to put an offer on the property, we check first if you qualify, like with the lender.
Exactly.
So before we put in the offer and kind of look dumb.
No, exactly, because we work as a team.
Right, we work as a team, exactly. We're looking out for your best interest. We're there to protect you and make you look the best. So yeah, that's huge. The other thing too is it's happened a lot, not to my clients, but I've kind of used it as like a way to
to not
avoid it, right? I've heard of people putting offers in, and like the week before closing, the deal falls apart.
Oh no.
And it's because they find out that the property has flood insurance. That's another thing that happens.
So they didn't do their due diligence.
They didn't do their due diligence. And then
can flood insurance, that's a good question because or a good topic. Flood insurance now, you don't have to specifically live next to the ocean to be in a flood zone.
No, you
right?
don't.
So explain to me, do you know what
I mean? Honestly, it's like apparently the water table, I believe.
Yep,
like,
there's a map with the...
There's a map with the water table, the flood zones.
Flood zones,
So you really want to ask home by home, does this home
Yes.
have flood insurance required?
Exactly.
And it's a requirement. You can't get out of it,
No.
even if you
Exactly,
paid
because
off.
the bank wants to protect themselves. They
Right,
want
the
to
bank
protect their
wants-
asset,
yeah.
that it's not in a flood
Right,
zone,
right,
and if
right,
something
right.
happens, we're not going to lose the property over it. But
Yes.
so yeah, there's FEMA has an online website. You can Google it and
flood
check
map.
it out. Yeah, so you basically put the property in there, and it tells you. It gives you this nice map, green,
Right.
red, and tells you. It's
Yep.
pretty easy to read.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can
And it can
happen
be
to
pricey.
It can be very pricey. I mean,
Yeah.
it can bring, for example, let's say an example. I mean, just varies from where you're living at, but from paying, let's say, $75 on a single family, per month for a regular insurance out of flood zone, compared to having a flood zone, it can be $200, $250,
It can be
maybe
$200,
$300.
yeah,
I
$200
mean,
to $300 per month.
that's a big
extra.
change.
It is a big difference, and it goes to nothing. Like
Yeah.
you don't make
No,
that money.
you're
It's
hoping
just-
it to flood? No.
Right?
Come
No,
on.
exactly. So it affects your DTI,
Yes.
everything. So those are things to look out for. But that's something that the realtor will be looking out for you.
Okay.
Typically.
Okay. Now, and that's a good answer to the question that we had. Any other common questions that you're coming across?
Yeah, common questions. How much do I need really? Like if I, to buy a home.
Okay.
How much do I need to buy a home for like the down payment? But on top of that, I make X amount. How much home can I afford?
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah, that's more of a
Nah,
lender question,
I
but
love
it's
'em.
like I can't just say because it's more. It's way more intricate than that.
It is. It is. Thank you for that. Yes. So the debt to income. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So for example, the down payment, it depends first what type of property, what type of buyer you are. So if you're a first-time home buyer, there are different programs that give you options. You can buy a property with only 3.5% down with an FHA.
Yep.
You can buy a property with only 3% or 5% with a
Yep.
conventional loan. Home ready, home possible. You can even go with mass housing and get 100% financing, so you don't put anything down, right?
That's a loan, right? Just
Yes. So to
That's
declare it,
another thing,
mass
too.
housing is actually it's a lender. It's a loan that's given by Massachusetts, right?
right.
So it's only for you to purchase in property in Massachusetts, and it gives you an incentive with the interest rate, with the
Right.
mortgage insurance. They are a little more strict, but it gives you that flexibility.
The other one that I've heard of, and I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry if I kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like I
Please.
leave everything to the lenders. It's more so like when the lender covers, or there's loans that cover only the down payment, but that's a loan. That's not just given out. Whereas Mass Dreams, it was given out, like it was
Oh, like a grant.
a grant.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Mass
yes,
Dreams
yes.
was a grant.
Yep.
But
So-
there are other like Home Possible, I believe.
So for example, so there are mass housing has the 100% financing where you're having two loans. So you have the first mortgage, and then you have instead of
Yes.
putting the 3.5, it's a second
Yes,
mortgage.
that's it, exactly.
That's what it is. We have also there's Chenoa. Chenoa is a
Oh, yes, I
second.
heard of
It's
Chenoa.
it's like it's another down payment assistance. So you can go with a different type of loan, any loan, and if you qualify with the debt to income ratios, adding Chenoa if those loans get along,
Yep.
because that's another piece.
Right.
Yeah, that's another good option. Now that's for a first-time home buyer, right?
Yes,
They get all these
exactly.
great benefits.
Yep.
But now let's say somebody who's looking to buy an investment property.
Yes.
Right? And we're talking investment because then you can buy the next property, right,
Mm-hmm.
and not put that much down. But investment property, it depends on the loan program. You can do 20%, depends on the type of property. But right now, anything from 2-family and up, it's 25% down. That's
Okay.
on investment property.
Oh, 2-family and up
okay.
as well.
Yep. It's a type of investment program where there's two types. There's we're looking at your income and the cash flow of the property.
Yep.
Or we can look at, if you're not declaring too much income, we look at a DSCR loan.
Okay, yep,
Investor
exactly.
cash flow.
Right.
We look at your credit, we look at the down payment, but more importantly, we're focusing that monthly rent you're receiving is going to pay off
It's
that mortgage.
self-sustainable.
Self-sustainable, yes. So aside from that, that's the down payment now, kind of to go off of, you have buyers who are looking to buy their next home.
Yep.
Right? So for example, let's say they own a 3-family
Yes.
and they want to buy a 2-family.
Right.
Okay. They can buy this next property with a home possible, with a home ready, with an FHA, as
Yep.
long as they don't have an FHA on that 3-family.
Okay.
As long as it's primary residence.
Right.
Not your first home, but as long as you're going to live in there, and it's not an investment where they're going to say 25% down.
Okay.
That's the possibility of you being able to put a little bit of money down and buy that next property.
Now, another question. If they did buy the first 3-family with an FHA,
Mm-hmm.
how soon can they buy the second one?
You love the question?
And what do they need to be able to put down for the second one if it's a 2-family?
Okay, so for example, and I love the question, so they need to wait at least a year. So FHA requires you to wait 1 year. You're actually sign that
Because
in
they're
the
living there.
disclosures because it's a primary
Yep.
residence and you're living in there.
Yep.
Exactly. So when you're buying this next property as a 2-unit, right, you can't buy with an FHA because you
Yep.
can only have one. Unless you refi, get out of it, then you buy with an
Yes.
FHA, great. But the next property you have to buy with a conventional, and right now, due to the pandemic and everything that's going on, minimum down payment is
This one?
15%.
Oh, 15%,
On a
right.
2-family.
Okay,
15%. 15%.
And 20 for a 3.
And 20 for a 3. That's right. So mass housing allows you to buy, as well as AMI products, and I can talk about that a little bit more, but allows you to buy a 2 or 3 with 5% down only if you are a first-time home buyer.
Right.
That's the kicker.
Exactly, yep.
But yeah, I mean, aside from that is, that's kind of the down payment piece of it, right?
Now, how much do you need?
Yes, and I love that.
I make X amount of money. How much do I need to buy?
And I wish I could be like, oh, yeah, let me tell you, boom, 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 boom,
It's
here you
not
go.
that simple.
No,
Every time, and I get that
Yeah.
all I make $100,000. How much home can I afford?
Yeah, no. It's I mean, we can always give estimates, right? But in order for me to really analyze everything and give you a concrete answer, because I'm not in the business to give you estimates. I'm here to give you solid answers.
Exactly.
Right? So for example, I do need to see your credit. That way I'm looking at your liabilities, I'm looking at what your affordability is. But more importantly, which loan program you're going to be able to get in.
Yeah.
So what dictates everything that we determine how much you can buy is the credit score, which loan program.
What debts you have.
Yeah, exactly. The employment history, we look at 2 years back to make sure you qualify. And then the income, how much income you have and how much debts you have to make that debt to income ratio as low as possible.
What's the ratio that's like the golden spot? That
Okay, good question. So for example, if you go with an FHA, it's going to be around 45.
Okay.
You can tweak it up a little higher, but 45 is a safe spot.
Cool.
All right, that's when it runs through a DU.
And what does that mean? 45%?
Love it. So for example, let's say you're earning $10,000 a month, 120 a year. All right, that means that the maximum amount of mortgage payment that you can afford per month with an FHA is 45%, is 4,500. So what you're looking at is a property that has a monthly payment of $4,500 or less.
Okay, but that's also not, that's if you had no debt. That's if
Exactly,
you had,
thank you. So now, and again, that's me looking at only your income. So there's 2 ratios.
Yep.
There's a housing ratio where we're looking at only your monthly income and only the monthly payment of the mortgage. That's a 45% sweet spot, okay? Now, when you're going up to, and we're talking about FHA, we're looking at the future monthly payment of the mortgage, plus your overall debt, the auto loans, the credit cards, the student loans.
Yeah, the things that add up.
Yes, that back-end debt-to-income ratio, that goes up to 55.
Okay.
Again, we can go a little higher, but that's the sweet spot, 55.
Okay.
So those 2 numbers, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at what the monthly affordability is for the mortgage, and then affordability with all your overall debt.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why it's really important to talk to the lender to really know how much you can afford.
Yes, exactly. So it's very tough for me to answer and say, oh, 100,000, oh, ding.
Same with me. Like, I can give you an idea, but I mean, I don't know what your debts are. I don't know what your credit score is.
Yes.
And I think it's super important if you have kind of like, if you're working on your credit, to really work on the credit, like, and get that up, because it will affect your interest rate a lot.
That's right.
To me, it doesn't make sense to lock in at a really, with a really low credit and an interest rate that's like super high. It doesn't make sense.
No, and you're right. And so one thing that we have, which is pretty neat, and a lot of lenders have, is it's called a credit simulator, right? So what I like to do is I always like to run the credit and do the full analysis with the documents. That way, when we give this letter, it's like gold ticket. That's all you want as a realtor. You want to make sure this is solid, right?
Yes.
But we have a credit simulator. So let's say for any reason your credit comes in below 600. No big deal. Well, yeah, it's a big deal. But let me run it through the credit simulator and get you a solution.
Yeah, right.
Now, instead of you trying to do this on your own and you make the payments, it can take 1 to 2 months for your credit card companies to then report this new balance. As long as you don't do any new transactions. It's tough to do.
Yeah.
So what's the trick, the shortcut? We run it through the credit simulator. I tell you what you need to do. Hey, pay this card off.
I love that.
Yes.
That's why it's so important. Even if you're, if you really want to buy a home, just talk to us. If you're not ready, fine. That's not a problem if you're not ready right now. No problem. We're going to put you on the path to be ready.
Yes.
Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's next year. But you're making the steps now for next year.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's huge. Being able to fix your credit. If you don't know how, being in limbo and just having it stay bad is also not an option. You have to look for solutions, and talking to a lender is the first solution.
Thank you, because you're wasting time. And I mean, think about this. You say, okay, I'm going to wait till next year. Now you get to next year.
I'm going to wait till next year. I'm putting it off. It's because there's so much, it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, which at the end of the day, it really isn't. It's so easy.
It's simple.
It's so simple.
Simple.
It's super simple.
We're here to give you the clues. We're giving you the answers right now. Just write it all down.
So, I mean, that's amazing. So, I mean, thank you, Tatiana. So, any other questions or anything kind of you're getting that's...
The main ones are those, going into it, if you're an investor, what areas should I look in, and what to look for when you're looking for your first investment property.
Okay.
When you're looking for an investment property, you want to know if you're buying there are a lot of things. Are you buying it tenanted? What are the rents? How long have they lived there? Because becoming a landlord is a big deal. Like you want to know who you're going to be dealing with.
It's a business transaction. It's a business.
Yeah, Massachusetts is a very tenant-friendly state.
Yep.
You want to know like the ins and outs of it, really.
Yep.
And in terms of like, honestly, if you're looking at it from a financial point of view,
Yep.
some areas make sense, some areas don't make as much sense. So talk to me about.
So what you're saying is very important. So basically, is a matter of if you're looking at an investment property, it's all about the numbers.
It's really about the numbers. If you're looking at.
So don't concentrate so much on the area because you're not going to live there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be doing FHA, first-time home buyer, you have to live there.
You have to live there. It's
you
not
have
an
to
investment.
live there.
Yeah.
But
an investment property.
It's an investment property, exactly. Yep. So with a 3.5% down, you're able to own an asset that's like $1 million,
yeah.
$700,000, $800,000, which is amazing. And just by putting 3.5% down.
Yeah, and I mean, that's amazing. I mean, and that's something that it's really not that hard. Again, let's kind of recap. It's credit scores above 600. We can do 580, but then they ask more overlays. So 600 is the easier way. And then tax returns, right? So make sure you have your past 2 years of employment. And then the income piece is where our favorite part is. I look at your income documents. We analyze, hey, this is the maximum affordability, kind of what we talked about, these percentages.
Yep.
And then we figure out, well, if this is the maximum amount that you can buy, what's the minimum that you need to put down?
Yep.
Right? Depending on the loan program.
And of course, like if you put down more, your mortgage comes less.
Yeah,
so if you want to put down more, you're more than welcome to.
And that's where we look at the numbers because you know what? Sometimes
it makes more sense to put down 5 or 10, in my opinion. Like
or maybe not even because, like, for example, I have clients who say, oh, I'm going to put down $5,000 more or $10,000 more. Let me tell you, so every $5,000 that you either put down or the purchase price goes up, it's only adding $25 to $35 a month.
That's it. And when you look at it like that, when you break it down like that, you're just like, okay, well, what can I really like put, as an offer price for this home?
Exactly.
Is this home worth $50 extra per month for me? Like,
yeah, exactly. Or you say, how quickly can I get this money back? You know what I mean? If I put $5,000 more, it means that I have to pay this much more. How much will I get that money back? So, so very important topics. I mean, Tatiana, this is good. This is very good. So, I mean, I think any other questions that you're seeing that you're kind of,
another one that I keep getting actually is when I work with Spanish-speaking clients, which are a lot of them actually, is ITIN. I'm sure you've talked about ITIN before.
Actually, a little bit, and we haven't. But
okay.
Let's
So
elaborate.
ITIN. So I don't know if you want to speak in English or Spanish, but
you can do los dos, but we do English and Spanish. Spanglish.
Perfect, Spanglish. So we have people that I really want to buy a home. I have good income. What do I need to be able to? I only have ITIN. My sister has a social. Can I use her social?
No.
No, we can't. But I have ITIN. Like, what can I buy a home with ITIN?
Yes. So, and for everybody tuning in who doesn't know what an ITIN is, so an ITIN is your tax ID. So it's your ID that you use to report income and that your
if you don't have a
uses.
social security number.
If you don't have a social security number, exactly. So, yes, we do ITINs, right? So an ITIN loan program, it's a good option, especially somebody like you mentioned who doesn't have a social, has been working for the past 2 years, has a credit score higher than 700.
Yeah.
That's another big important factor there. But then the down payment is a little higher. It can be 20, it can be 25%. But it's a program that allows you to get into a home, get some equity, build, or if you want to rent it out and have it self-pay, it's off over time. But my point is in the future, then you refinance once you get your social into a regular QM loan to get that interest rate lower.
Okay. Yeah, because I get a lot of people and like, I hear from different people, I got 5% down with ITIN, but it's like, but then I had to pay 10% in closing costs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot for not to go to your home. That's closing costs.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways we look at the numbers.
Right, right. You have to look at every situation and see what makes sense, the most sense.
Exactly.
But as long as you can get in there and you really want to buy the home, then, I mean, putting 20% down is like great.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. No, and I think let's transition into the last topic, which we have here is what should you be focusing on? What should you be looking for while you're just starting the process of looking for a home?
Okay, so when you're starting the process, in terms of looking for the realtor, you want to look for someone that's communicative. You want to look for someone that understands your needs really to the basic level. You want to look for people that really are looking out for the best for you, because a lot of people out here are looking for their paycheck. Yeah. I've heard of someone that actually my client was working with, and she was like, just put everything, offer everything you have for your pre-approval, everything, like waive all contingencies. Wow. And it's like, you're not looking out for their best interest. Like, you want to make sure that you really are like
protected.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they really care about you. Number one, I honestly, like, that's huge. So trust the person you're going to be working with.
Wow. Okay. And usually this happens is when you get referred to somebody, because it's different when you go and call a random person because you don't know their reputation unless you're really good at doing investigative work. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you get referred from a family member, a friend, or another professional who says, "Hey, if you're looking to buy, talk to Tatiana, talk to this realtor." Take that into consideration. People have reputations in this line of work because you're only as good as your last transaction, right? So if you're doing a bad job, you have a bad reputation. But if you have a good reputation, it goes a long way.
Exactly. And it's honestly, like, when you get the referral, like, it's beautiful. I feel like that's such a, like, they
it's a
put
compliment.
so much trust in you. Yeah, they really put so much trust in you, and they enough to, like, be like, hey, this person helped me so much. Like, I want my friends to have a good experience. So and that's really, like, that's so sweet.
Love it.
So yeah, you want to really know who you're working with, lender and realtor alike. So when you have one good piece of the puzzle, usually they are connected with other good pieces of the puzzle. So they're going to be a huge asset to you. Like, that's creating that team together. Attorney, lender, you know, realtor, everything. Aside from that, when you have that team together, you have that structure, you then start, you know, the process with the pre-approval, and you start looking at homes. So that at that point, when you're looking at homes, what do you want to look for? You honestly want to look for the fundamentals in the home. You want to look for, you know, the systems, how old the systems are. Otherwise, you're going to have to be, if you're buying a home with, like, older systems, you're going to have to front the cost pretty soon. Okay. Right. You want to ask, like, how old the roof is. You want to
find out what the actual life of the lifespan. Lifespan.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know what costs you're going to have to incur in the near future.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. You really want to look out for that when you're buying the home, because everything else you can change around. Like, the location, you want to make sure that that's an location you really like. I don't know.
Hey, like, you're comfortable. That I mean, you're going to be waking up every morning and looking out the window in the door.
Yeah, exactly. Do your due diligence, but don't get sidetracked by the cosmetics of the home, because that's completely changeable. And
so good point. So for example, you're saying is don't look so much at the shiny cabinets.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at more of, hey, if the roof maybe needs only has 2 years.
Look for damage. Actually, if anything, look for the bad things in the home, because that's going to be your headache. Put your inspector hat on when you're looking at homes. Like, when you're at an open house, they're going to stage it beautifully, and they're going to they're going to cover up the not so nice
Band-Aids over where they need to.
Exactly. So, and of course, everyone's like, oh my gosh, beautiful, gorgeous. But you're going to be the one with the headache later on.
And I think it's important when you work with a realtor, a professional, they are looking at those aspects, because a lot of buyers are drawn to the shiny objects, where as a professional, what you're doing is looking behind the Band-Aid. Hey, let me look. Okay, hey, let me look over here.
What's really going on?
Let me lift
and
over here.
I won't say, like, I'm an inspector, because I'm not. Like, I leave everyone to their job, right?
Which is an important another topic. So, for example, I mean, is that something you advise? I mean, should a buyer get an inspector?
So that's another thing. It depends on, like, people's comfortability. And I never tell people not to do one, because, like, I don't want later on to them find out, like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge deal, and my realtor told me not to do it. I would love for you to buy the house if you really love the house, but if you don't feel comfortable with waiving the inspection, I'm never going to push you to do something you don't want to do.
Get the inspection. Get the inspection. Protect yourself.
And there's different ways to still get the inspection and still win the home. There's such thing as a pre-inspection.
Ooh. Yeah. Tell me about that.
So yeah, this is great. So when you are looking at a home, let's say for an open house, if an open house is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you go see it on Friday, and you love the home, you can hire an inspector to do, like, a pre-inspection. And that's kind of like for them to come and, like, put eyes on the home. They're not going to do the full analysis, but they can come with you to the next open house. And I think they're going to charge you whatever they charge you, probably less, because it's not a full inspection. But they're going to look out for the main things that you want them to look out for, like the key items that, you know. The full inspection will include things, you know, as silly as, like, oh, this outlet needs to be changed, or blah, blah, blah.
Or the roof has this, or this hole here, or something.
Right, some things. But, like, yeah, they'll include absolutely everything. Oh, this knob needs to be changed. Oh, all those things. But the pre-inspection is, oh my gosh, this roof looks like it's gonna go down. Oh my gosh, this foundation is cracked. They're gonna look for that stuff, because we can do our best guess, realtors, unless they're, you know, we have inspection experience. I don't advise.
You have an inspector hat.
Right. So if that makes you feel more comfortable, 100% do that.
Awesome.
At the end of the day, it's an investment. Yes, you're paying for them to come out and do that with you, but you feel peace of mind, and that to you might be worth everything. So
Amazing. Wow. So Tatiana, Tati, this is amazing. I can't even say, this is amazing. So much information that's coming in. And, I mean, thank you. And so this is good, guys. So please, I hope you guys have been taking notes. I hope you're absorbing all of this knowledge, this information, because it's important, guys. If you're in the market, know what you guys should be looking for. Know what you should be focusing on, and work with a good team that has your best interests at heart, right? Yeah. So Tatiana, before we let these beautiful people go, you know, what kind of knowledge, what kind of piece of experience that you want to leave us with, or motivation that you want to kind of leave these listeners with? But more importantly, please, Tatiana, what's the best way for everyone to be able to reach out to you?
So to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to, you know, talk on the phone. If you guys want to call 617-872-2252. Instagram is great if you want to DM me. It's Tatiana G Sells Homes. My email is tatianagsellshomes@gmail.com. So any of those avenues, I'm more than happy to talk to you and meet with you, and and if you have any help.
Awesome. And what you do is put some great content over there. So please make sure you subscribe and you like it.
And I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I want to be of like a resource to you guys. So
awesome. Tatiana, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
all right,
you.
I appreciate it. And guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I hope you guys learned a lot. And guys, please take care. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Tune in, subscribe, like it, and share it. Thank you so much.